Hey, hey,
Howard, not only do we
Jake.
have a great guest today, but I think we have to dedicate this to a very special person. Someone who influenced me. This episode is influenced me through all of my childhood and maybe into my early adult life. I'm going to give
Oh, he's
you a
gonna do
clue.
it. Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
give
I
you
think
a
yeah,
clue.
it's sad when childhood heroes and celebrities that you grew up with pass.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yes,
The
you're
Hulkster.
referring to the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him as well. It's tough.
I
WWF even before WrestleMania. I wasn't a huge wrestling fan, but it's just a hallmark, a staple of childhood.
before I was a mobster, I was really involved in wrestling. So this is really cuts
Okay.
deep. But I don't want to go only the path. I want to just say that this episode is to the Hulkster. And so without ripping off my shirt right now, I want to introduce maybe
You're metaphorically ripping off your shirt.
right, right. If this is a PG show, but I do want to say that there's in every generation comes a new Hulkster. And I think that maybe today we have a new Hulkster, maybe not in terms of biceps or suplex, but in terms of
Well,
some
I know
other.
that I do sometimes see our guest at my local gym. He does
Oh my gosh.
every couple of maybe a couple of months he comes and visits, and I see him at the gym. So not far off, Jake.
Well,
Let's just bring him on. Let's just bring him on. There's
there's
too
too
much
much drama.
dancing
Who are
around
we
it.
talking about? Who is this person?
Liron, welcome, Liron. Liron Bercovich,
Hello. What
Liron
welcome.
are you saying about my biceps?
Bercovich! Give us some flexing. Oh,
There you
oh, oh,
go.
oh. Are we going to talk body talk, or are we going to talk a little bit about marketing stuff? What would you prefer? Because you can go both ways here.
We are on the B2B mob, so maybe we should talk a little bit marketing here. But thanks for having me. I was really excited for this.
Well,
Thanks,
we're going to
Liron. It's
deflate
really
that
great to
right
have you.
now. We're really excited to have you. And if you want to come off the top rope and give it, an elbow or the clothesline, any of those moves are good. But I think what people really want to know is a guy like you, you're so entrepreneurial and how did you find your way into marketing? People are lost when they're, just coming out of school. How did you get your way into marketing and how do
Yeah,
you know what you're doing?
give us a little background. We kind of know a little bit of the background because we've seen your CV,
You
right?
are my background.
A little bit of a hint to our audience. We've seen your CV and we know a little bit about it. But tell us where you are now. Jake, we're terrible at introducing our guests, to be
Yeah.
honest. We need to work on it. But Liron, you go ahead. You tell us a little bit about your background and what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, for a little shameless endorsement here, my name is Liron. I'm the founder of Morelink, a B2B outbound agency, outsource SDR agency. So I was Israeli that grew up in Europe my entire life, and then I went to school in IDC in Herzliya, now known as Reichmann. And during my time at IDC, I was able to do an internship being an SDR in a tech company. And then shortly after that, I started working at Lytico, which was really kind of where my career started. I was able to, first of all, jump into the role, which is a huge part of what we do today in terms of running LinkedIn outbound campaigns and organic outreach, getting people interested through LinkedIn, starting conversations, really building relationships through the platform. And then after my time at Lytico, I said, hey, we're good at something. Let's really figure out how we can become the best at it and offer it to multiple companies, which is where we are today. And then also everything that we do is just how do we add more services while becoming experts and the best in what we do. Which a huge part of it is just relationship building, as you guys know. So it's like a lot of it is just really coming into a company and building that relationship, becoming the experts both in their products and then being the outbound experts of how do we get their product or solution in front of other people, and then what channels are the best channels to do that.
That's incredible. I got so many questions here, but I hate to point it out.
I want to crack into it because we do know a little bit of
Go.
the background. Jake, we've built something together at Letico that is considered, whether you call it a growth hack or demand generation or outbound automation. And we were kind of like right now, a lot of people are onto it, but we worked early days with another agency many years ago. Um, and then we were able to replicate it in-house at scale. We're talking about LinkedIn automation and outreach
Right.
primarily, right? So just to clear the air a bit, I know you offer a lot of services, but that's something that we built in-house and that you were able to take when you left Litico and really expand on it. And so I think we need to learn a little bit more about what the current state of it, right? Because we haven't really jumped into it too much since we stopped doing it at Litico. Um, so I want to ask you, what's the current state of this automation? I know we see a lot of it ourselves online. Um, and other services you offer along with, like you said, there's knowing the product, knowing the audience, but let's fill in our audience a little bit on the growth hack of it, the way to really go to market at scale en masse with the right budget. Not every company has 20 SDRs, that each SDR has, 5 inboxes with a fully operational email infrastructure or LinkedIn infrastructure in place. So go ahead, tell our audience, right? People want to know how
Yeah,
how the magic really works without going in.
it's
Yeah.
it's so crazy how when I first interviewed at Litico, I didn't even know what LinkedIn automation really was. I was really at the beginning of my career, and there was different elements in that LinkedIn automation that were so foreign to me, that were almost surprising and shocking. Um, I think one of the biggest things about LinkedIn automation is, first of all, you want to be able to stand out in such a saturated market in terms of everybody's doing LinkedIn outreach. So how are you different and how are you actually able to start a conversation? Which, Howard, this is really something that we worked on internally so
Yeah, I
heavily,
remember
which was
that.
just beyond the sales. And I call it hard sales versus soft sales. And soft sales is really around starting a conversation with someone, which is also what you're trying to do. We're not trying to close a deal through a LinkedIn chat. We're trying to generate enough interest to get the person interested, and then how do you reel them into actually having a conversation with the salesperson? At the end of the day, even though my job is generating meetings, you also don't want to generate BS meetings. So it's like, how do you have that perfect balance towards just starting a conversation, reaching out to people? And for me, it's all about targeting. Are you actually reaching the right people? And then how are you describing your value proposition, and making it clear enough where your user and the person in front of you is understanding it, and then persuasive enough where you're also getting them on a call, right? And it doesn't have to be a 5 paragraph essay. I don't like to have people scrolling on LinkedIn. And then obviously there's everything around it, with the technology and LinkedIn being a constant cat and mouse chase. So it's like we're constantly changing our systems, we're constantly changing our tools. And as an agency, and this is something I always tell my clients, I'm not a technology provider. I'm not a SaaS company. I'm not selling you the tools. I'm selling you the expertise on how to use the tools. And I'm guaranteeing you that whatever tools we're using are the best current tools in the market, which we research. Our little
Right.
R&D team, you know?
Mhm. So it sounds to me like you've got something there that most people think that they can do. So why would someone, I mean, it becomes so commonplace. Why are people coming to an agency when it's becoming, AI? Everyone's making what seems to be a similar promise of, oh, you can automate, you can do the targeting, and oh, it's just set up your own email campaign, set up your own LinkedIn automation. Like that's what it's so noisy out there. When would someone say I should try it myself versus say, okay, maybe I don't know what I'm doing and maybe I should get some expert help? How do you fill in the blanks there?
Yeah. So I actually have a funny story, but basically in our sales presentation, when we first talk to a client, that's one of our first slides, which is why would I hire an agency when we can do this in-house? And the truth is, this is what we do. We eat, live, breathe, sleep outbound. All the best practices. We're currently one of the agencies that can do the most amount of touch points per LinkedIn profile on LinkedIn. And just we we run the outbound initiatives for 60 clients. We know the best practices of what's going on, and we take all our clients in that direction. So the amount of data that we can actually analyze in any given month is enormous. There's always changes to trends, how you start a conversation, what type of people you should be reaching out to, and industry trends that you really see within your own agency. There are huge markers that we use. And then also just our ability to truly focus on it. If you're going to hire someone in-house, but you don't really know how to do it, you're going to set them up on a tool like Apollo, Salesloft, whatever that may be, and you're going to expect them to make it work on that tool. As an agency, as I mentioned, this is what we do, and we're not married to any tool, so we're able to move very quickly. And then regarding the AI comment you made, actually, I spoke to a client a few minutes ago, and the CEO jumped on and he asked me, do you do any AI SDR work? And I said, I kind of go against that. I really come in and I say, I don't believe in the AI SDR. I believe in the energy in my team being able to really funnel people into the top of the sales funnel, and then also lead them towards having a productive call with the AE. So it's really also that point of we got interest from the person, but then how are you taking them to the next level? And that's also a whole operation by itself, which is known as appointment setting.
Mm-hmm. So people are pretty confident, especially, I mean, we're talking to the Israeli market. A lot of people are, I'm experimental and I'm trying it myself. When would someone realize that maybe I need help? Because people are pretty
I would
independent.
say, I think, Jake, just on that, and what Liron was saying, I'll just take from my own experiences. I think sometimes what you might have a specific budget, and because we built this, know what goes into building it in-house. Now it's definitely easier with N8N and clay tables and different tools that allow you to run the actual automation and the inboxing. You could do it yourself, but it's an investment, all to try and experiment. And so I would go with the agency route with a whole fully built system to just say, let's give this a try. If it works, the agency can scale and you can monitor your costs, right? It's kind of fixed. Whereas, in-house, I think some of the problems we ran into maybe is just, yes, we can scale it, but the costs can get a little bit out of hand.
So,
adding in all the.
Are you dealing with just companies who are experimenting with outbound, or are you able to work with the scale-ups as well? Like, where are you on that?
I think I know we provide a lot of value to both. Typically in the startup community, it's a lot of product market research as well that goes into it, and being able to pivot much faster when you're with an agency and you're able to facilitate the type of volume that we're able to facilitate our clients with. And then also just being able to really move quickly towards what systems are best to use. So as Howard mentioned, everybody knows about Clay. Everybody knows they can get email addresses, but the efficiency you get by working with an agency and the fact that we're able to just hit the ground running within 2 to 3 weeks really goes a long way. And we all know what tech stacks look like. I mean, we spend a lot of money on new technology, more than I would be happy to admit at this point. And it's really all about, if you were to calculate the tech stack that you would need to run systems internally, the employee salaries that you would need to cover, and also just ramp up time and needing to teach someone something that you don't necessarily know how to do. There's so many benefits by working with an agency. And that being said, most of our clients do have an internal initiative. Most companies that get to a certain size, that's not that big, are going to have some sort of internal initiative. And most of the time, our systems can outperform their internal systems because of volume as well, and just our expertise of being able to hit the gas from the get-go.
Great. And so now we're talking about LinkedIn. There's so many other channels like that may be the most populated, but people want to have a full 360, and they're moving into other channels, obviously.
Yeah, omni-channel, right?
Email and phone and WhatsApp and text. Like, what are some of the things that you would say the more advanced folks are doing? I mean, we can see endlessly R2B2 is, so that we see endless technologies and AI. Is it taking us
like
to
the website reveal stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we seeing that are, maybe some of the trends on outbound that we are should be looking at it as, business operators as opposed to an agency? Where are we going from here?
I mean, I think intent signals are huge. If you have a team of internal SDRs that are going to be going after a number of companies, you want to make those companies as relevant as possible. And one of those relevancy points is really intent signals. So like, how are you making sure that the people you're reaching out to are not only within ICP, but actually taking it to the next step and know that they're interested in buying a new technology, or they actually have a need for what you're offering, whether that's related to their tech stack or something that they search on Google, like with the Zoom info intent data that they're selling, or our B2B people that went into your website and then building your ICP on those people specifically, or in Flu to being able to really see who's actually clicking on your tools, on your ads. There's so many tools in the market that make outbound more efficient, but I think really efficiency and then the research at scale are the biggest movers in the market currently. I feel like I kind of went off.
No. I think the efficiency is a really important factor to this, because I think there was a period in a couple years ago where it was like growth at all costs, and the fastest way to scale was to add outreach tools, add numbers of SDRs, and then it's just dials and emails. With the human factor, I think now the technology makes it more efficient. But I want to say, I think maybe it also comes down to messaging. Where do you play, and what are you seeing as far as the kind of messaging that's getting that cut through? I think we talked about it before, about the kind of conversations. You can't just do a pitch slap, as they say, right when you connect. What is it? What is the messaging? What does that look like on your end? Not just the technology efficiency, but what are the type of messages and conversations that are getting those meetings booked?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things that we do during onboarding, I call it the value proposition for dummies. And I write a poem about my client's company, and I really dumb down their value proposition. I think it's a really important exercise to be doing, because we could talk about messaging style, we could talk about triggers, intent, getting in front of people, but if they don't understand what you're offering, it's very challenging to get positive responses. And sometimes people forget, like I always think about it as in having the user, the champion, and the decision maker when you're reaching out to people. And more often than not, the users that you're reaching out to and the champions that you're reaching out to are not technical people. So you're reaching out to them with a value proposition that even if they're interested, they don't know how to understand. Which is why most of the time I like to write our value propositions almost as if they're use cases, right? Like, this is what we would do specifically for you, over this is what we do in general. And then they're able to envision it. And also just your understanding on a SaaS product, where I'm like, I've always been this way, but I like to simplify everything that I'm doing. And I always look at SaaS companies like there's some sort of activity that needs to happen, like for example in finance teams, and then there's companies that are solving AR or solving FP&A or whatever they're solving something specific, and you need to become an expert in that specific problem or bottleneck that people are facing in order to be able to sell it. But I like to do our messaging very soft, direct, almost start with the pain point. What is the actual pain point that they're feeling? Is it monetarily related? Is it time related? Is it visibility, which visibility is a huge part of it. Like, you could argue that every tech company is really solving something to do with visibility, which is usually the argument of figure out that there's a problem so you can solve it, rather than waste your time finding out that you do actually have a problem before you solve it.
Liron, you're working with 60 companies. Are they mainly in the tech space, or are you in other industries as well?
Yeah, I would say that the majority of our clients are in the tech space, and that's definitely where our expertise plays in. We do work with a lot of service companies and consultancies as well. One of my favorite one-on-one conversations are actually with consultants, and it's very interesting to me. And then really where our creativity comes in, and you really need to break through the noise, is with tech companies. So definitely tech companies are the most challenging and my favorite companies to work on, because it's like, Yeah.
I think what you said is it's natural. I think what we're seeing on LinkedIn, especially with you know, the way outreach is going and also the content that's resonating, it does come down to the person of, as a, the person is the service, the consultant, right? That might be an easier way to scale the interaction when the person himself is giving the value. I think what's interesting is we're seeing software companies make the person the value as well, right? Those are like the thought leadership ads, getting your CEO to do the outreach, or an executive, maybe executive profile to do outreach, maybe. I don't know. I'm just
So I can hear
thinking off the
that.
top of my head. Yeah.
I hear that, but how does that work in outbound when you are like, you're an external provider and you're trying to make it personality driven? I don't know how that works. So I think as a sales if you're going as a consultant, I get that. But how do you take those modern ideas and put them into mass outbound? I don't know how you do that. Like, there's the clay table and you make someone feel like a celebrity? What is it? Or you just think that no, people are not doing old school outbound in the right way, in a smart way? Or are you really bringing some of those new ideas into the personality, the selling? Are you mixing marketing into that outbound motion, or are you just doing outbound outreach? Is there something smarter that we should be doing? Because I understand personality driven branding, personality driven sales. I get that. But you're an outsourced agency. Are you able to do that?
Yeah. So first of all, when it comes to personalization, and we did kind of we're throwing the word clay around, which is like obviously everybody's throwing the word clay around now. It's like I really look at clay as research at scale, over enrichment and the waterfall enrichments, and we do use clay internally. Obviously, you can't be an agency these days without using clay. I'm a huge believer in segmentation. So really breaking down each industry, each persona, each pain point that they may be feeling, and targeting people based on a specific pain point. When it comes to testing, trying out different marketing initiatives, that's one of the cool things of being a service provider that's able to actually provide their customers with results, because a lot of them come to us to trust that we're going to run creative and valuable tests for them. So we really get the freedom to try whatever we want for our clients. And it makes it incredible, because if I have an idea, then I can execute it on a client. And if it works there, you're able to spread it across the board, and everyone benefits from it. I mean, people are very much coming to us for our expertise, and they trust us. Like, I could be speaking to a $1 million company that's Series C funded and whatever, and the founder or the CEO are going to be on a call with me and tell me, listen, like, I trust you as the expert. You shouldn't ask me if you could do this or that. Like, you are the expert and you've brought us results. I trust you to do whatever you think is necessary.
Yeah. Guys, I have a surprise.
Is it a cat?
No, you'll see.
Whoa.
I got a surprise, guys.
No,
I got a
this
surprise.
is
Crazy. Straight
Surprise
from
guest.
New York.
Cameo with
A surprise guest from
That
Orsafir.
is crazy.
Such a
You
pleasure
didn't
to be
expect
on
that,
here.
guys, right? Jake, I didn't tell you about this either. Liron.
No.
Or where are you in
Reunited,
the
and it
world?
feels so good.
Just a little context people don't see. We have Orsafir, who was also with us at Lightico, working really closely with Liron as a team. Orsafir, welcome. Say hi.
Hey guys, it's so good having me on. I'm in New York right now. I had to make this call to surprise both Jake and Liron. And this team
What
was
a
the
great
best team
surprise.
ever. I miss these calls every day. What are the odds we can have this call
Right,
again?
those team meetings.
We're going to
Exactly,
bring the
those
band
daily.
back together. Or thank
Exactly.
you so much. You look great, my friend. I look forward to catching up properly.
Yeah, we'll do
I
another
know we
catch
have
up.
to. We have to. I just wanted to come say hi to you guys. I know I've been watching your LinkedIn podcast. I love what you guys are doing. Hope you guys can continue that. And the Owen's doing amazing things, so it's gonna be a cool episode.
Take
Right,
care,
thanks,
my
Or.
friend.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Liron, it's so funny because that
What
is
a
a
Do you
great
like that surprise? Do you like that?
Loved it.
Yeah, it's a reunion. But I have to say that we have people here who are not in their 20s and people who are in their 20s. How the heck does a 20-year-old know what they want to do and build a successful business so quickly? I meet 20-year-olds who are floundering, and how did you or figure out your path and into the success? Like that's like the next generation story. How did
Yeah,
you
let's talk about that.
how did you, I mean, I understood that you were in school and the internship, but how did you understand I'm going to move it from a little pet project that pays for my bar trips to something really serious? I'm going to set up an outfit and employ a lot of people and take care of dozens and dozens of clients. How did that work?
Also, really kudos to say, like, after Lytico, to say we're starting a business, especially at a young age, versus I'm just going to go to the next SDR or marketing team or just get the next job.
Yeah.
Tell us that story. Let's hear it. Tell us that story. It's not easy. Switching gears a bit, right? It's not the marketing, but I think you have a lot of insight to share here.
I think the biggest part of it was it wasn't like I went into it because I just wanted to start a business. That's actually not what it was. I just wanted to be the best at what I do, and I wanted to be valued. And then obviously, as we worked with clients, we were really able to differentiate ourselves in the market from the perspective of the amount of attention and the relationship that we have with our clients. I think is not something that's common among other agencies. It's almost, I'm kind of shifting towards being positioned more as the fractional outbound team over just an agency. Like it's definitely not, hey, hire me and I'll just copy what I do for another client to you. And if it works, it works. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. We have clients that are in multiple states, and every single state has to have a different approach because people want something else, or the relevant people are different in every single state depending on 101 factors. And then I think I really just took it step by step towards working with one client, two clients, three clients, 10 clients, taking a step back, analyzing what's going on, and then being able to sustainably scale and get to a point where we're able to facilitate 60 clients. And for me, like what fuels me is getting on calls again with these funded companies that have tens of SDRs and them saying this is the only thing that's ever worked for us from an agency perspective, and really being able to break that barrier between, like, people hate agencies. Whenever I get on a call with a prospect,
agencies.
I have to convince them that we're not going to screw them over, that we're not just going to take their money. And a huge part of that is just the relationship and the partnerships that we build.
You know, this is me as an operator. I've seen so many agencies, and I'm so skeptical because if it's strategic, I want to bring it in-house. But I think every agency ends the same way. It was good for a while, thank you, but it ends sour. So, like, how is it that you think you're creating new paths?
Jake, do you think that has to do with the agency, or do you think that it has to do with the constant evolution of marketing and sales tactics?
Isn't that our job though, to keep up with that evolution? Like, isn't that our job to continuously improve our system so that there's no roadblock?
I think that would be the expectation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you make yourself different? Like, most agencies, I have a great time and I'm very appreciative of the help, and then it always ends in the same wow, wow, wow. Every agency really it goes like that. And by the way, a lot of employees go that way as well. Things have their expiry date. So I mean, you've been doing this how long? For 2-3 years? How long have you been building this business?
2 years and like 7 months now.
So do people
Almost
go?
4 years.
I remember, like,
oh my gosh,
yes, dude.
Crazy.
Oh my God. You don't have any gray hair, by the way. That's pretty impressive. But
I do.
How is it that do people go wow, 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 or does that approach really reflect in terms of their ability and their value that they're coming? And how do you keep on top of that so you don't get that disappointment at the end of it?
I need to sleep at night. I need to know that we did everything in our ability to help a client in order to sleep at night. That's my personality. I'm a huge people pleaser, and most of the time that'll get us over the line. So you need to be putting effort. And as I mentioned, most agencies, they'll really take like a templated approach, copy paste it, use GPT to kind of just write the copy, build the audience, build a few emails, they'll run the campaigns. And it's kind of a numbers game, right? You onboard 10, 20 clients, 5 stay that accidentally work well. But I think when you really take a scientific approach towards analyzing data, and see how you can improve. You can prove to improve your clients. There's really no option to fail. The only option to fail in my eyes is if there's really no product market fit, there's no value proposition that anyone cares about, and there's no champion user or champion or user that actually need what you're offering, which is not the case with any of our clients or anyone that we've worked with. Otherwise, I would take full accountability towards something not working. Like it's my job to position my clients in a way that is attractive towards their persona, and it's my job to make the systems work. It's not an excuse like, oh, it's summer. Like we just had the strongest month we've ever had in our lives in terms of SQLs and open opportunities in July, and it's freaking July. Like even I'm surprised.
Right.
Like I was
maybe more
prepared for,
people
like,
are spending more people are spending time on LinkedIn, maybe.
yeah, I mean, there's never an excuse to why you're not performing, and the expectation is A, for us to perform, and B, for us to figure out how we're going to perform better. Like no one's ever satisfied with a certain amount of meetings booked. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let me ask one, maybe is my final question. There's so much we can talk about personally, about how you have the mojo and how you built such a thing, but I'm agent phobic. I don't really, and I really think, okay, I'll try a freelancer, I'll try bringing it in-house, and I want to build it. How do I know that this is good and that I should reach out? And like maybe you can bait our listeners who are on the fence with this and say, what would be, is my TAM this, is my value of customer that? Like what are some of the parameters where they think, oh, you know what, it's going to be a slam dunk and Liron's team at Marlink is going to make it happen? What would be the criteria that someone listening would put for themselves to say, yes, it's worthwhile to have a conversation?
I think number one, which everyone is looking for, this is really credibility. And when it comes to credibility, we've worked with some of the fastest growing tech companies in the Israeli ecosystem that would fully vouch for us, and vouch for me, and vouch for the agency and what we were able to bring to the table. And then B, once they just see the systems and really what goes into our research of every single client, I think it would be a no-brainer, and you would automatically see like, okay, they're really doing something different from the perspective of, I could right now quit Marlink and be a salesperson at any one of the 60 clients' companies. And that's how confident I am in my know-how, knowledge. I know what people think about their companies. I know what the pain points are, value propositions, who wants to hear something certain, and what works. And I also have the data to prove it. So from that perspective, it's really taking Outbound to the next level, from being able to know what works, from being able to really even understand, like on your websites, I have clients that use the value propositions we use in our messaging on their websites because of how clearly it defines their companies and their services and what they do, which isn't not something that is muvan me'elav. And I had to throw an Israeli word in there, a Hebrew word in it.
No, it's true. It makes sense, right? A lot of that stuff, comes top down, but when you bring the message from the front line up, I think that's really valuable.
Liron, it sounds like you're the guru, and everyone I think we invite to this show really brings a specialty. And every time I'm like, oh, I should probably spend more time with each guest, and maybe I should have an offline conversation. So I think that you've baited me into maybe we start a discussion.
You got one.
So, nothing else.
61 customers.
Liron, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. So nice to see you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. See you guys soon.
Bye.
Well, thanks, Liron.
What a fun reunion, Howard.
That was fun. Yeah, that was nice to bring Liron on. And whenever I speak to Liron or see him or something he's doing online, he kind of, there's like a bit of pride. You feel good that this was someone who, is a great teammate, was really good at what he was doing, and I'm just proud to see that he's grown such an amazing business.
60 B2B leaders say, I think that he can do an equal or better job. I think it's pretty incredible.
But not surprised, right? Like he always had that, that clear vision of what he needed to do, the organization, he operated as as a CEO, as he is the CEO of his business, but even in the work that he's always done, it's been that kind of ownership, right? I use the word ownership.
I was going to use the buzzword.
You were going to throw it, the ownership.
Yeah, and when he said I could be a salesperson for 60 companies, I mean,
that's
that was
ownership.
It.
That's actual. And that's actually really great to hear. So, like, I think that hit home for you, I think, because I know you're very agency phobic. And you're, like you said, you know, the agencies put in a lot of work. They go into every relationship 110%. But I think your apprehension is always like, they're not really part of the team. But I think when someone says, I can be the salesperson at any one of these companies, that does speak to the confidence.
It's very interesting. Certainly there's a skill set that's developed, but economically an agency has to be really guarded with how they invest their time. So they can't actually be in it. So I look forward to my secondary conversation about it. Like, how do you do that? How do you have full ownership, yet you manage a profitable business? I don't know, but and I'm sure I'm not going to get
the work we know, the behind the scenes is that type of thing, but scalable. There is a lot of automation involved and a lot of scale behind it. So like I think you said, there is a lot of data that you can rely on and be able to sharpen what he's doing.
Right.
Anyway, I would like to hear what you said. It does sound like you're going to have a follow-up conversation, which is great, you know. But
was that a setup, Howard? Did you set me up for this? Anyways, to be continued.
Howard, thanks very much
for another great episode.
well. Yeah, nice likewise. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.